So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and today I'm going to be talking about the fight which is going to be taking place this weekend between Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. Now, it's a video which I've been holding off from making only because we sometimes make these videos in regards to giving your thoughts, etc., and fights get cancelled because people get injured, or stuff happens in the background and fights get cancelled. So I've been delaying making this video or making a lot of videos regarding the fight as well. But there's loads on YouTube, obviously, for you guys um, to listen to and stuff like that. But yeah, this is my thoughts in regards to the fight that's taking place on the weekend. The main event, okay, which sees the pair go head to head for the IBF strap, and it will see Daniel Dubois finally put um, a lot of doubters to bed in terms of him taking on an incredible opponent. You know what I mean? In his first defense of the title, in a belt which he didn't win outright. You know what I mean? He was the interim champion, and obviously the belt got vacated, which made him the full champion. So he's now taking on a man who he could pretty much say, look, yes, I won a vacant belt, but I beat the man who was pretty much in line near enough for pretty much a mandatory shot against the belt, give or take. So yeah, it's a chance for him to show people what he could do against someone like Anthony Joshua, and this is Anthony Joshua's opportunity now to become a three-time world heavyweight champion, and potentially set up a couple more bigger fights before it's curtains for his career. Now, people are talking about potentially the Tyson Fury fight. If Tyson Fury could get past Alexander Usyk, and obviously AJ could get past Daniel Dubois, so they're talking about that. That is the main fight everyone really wants to see. But obviously, we've talked about stuff like this a lot over the years, and every time we come close to seeing a blockbuster of a fight, something like someone slips on the banana slip, and last time it was Deontay Wilder where he slipped and obviously he lost. But it was a case where if he would have won, potentially we would have got to see AJ versus Wilder, but that didn't happen. But that's for another video, and all the other occasions where Tyson Fury and AJ fight was signed but just didn't go ahead, sort of thing. Yeah, again, thoughts for another video. But here we are. It's fight week, and I've been watching a lot of videos in regards to both of these guys, and both of them seem, you know what I mean, in good spirits, very motivated, very confident in getting a victory over one another. And yes, you have to have confidence and a lot of reassurance, but it's going to be very intriguing. Now, if this was let's say, a featherweight, lightweight fight, I'll be like, okay, cool, it's more about skills, rah, rah, rah. We're going to see who is the better fighter, etc. But in terms of it being the pair, they are heavyweights, and doesn't matter how much better you are of the opponent, all it takes is one shot, one punch to change the whole complex of the fight, etc. Because when you're looking at both of their skills and the experience of who they've been in with, etc., etc., obviously Anthony Joshua's got the better resume to date. He's slightly older than Daniel Dubois, so obviously his resume is a lot better. But in terms of current, let's say, form, etc., both guys are on tremendous form, and both guys have lost to similar opponents. But a lot of fans would say that Daniel Dubois' recent victories are far outweigh Anthony Joshua's, but I concur, because realistically, you can only beat who's in the ring with you at that moment in time. Now, from an AJ point of view, it was back in 2021 and 2022 where he lost his belts the first time to Alexander Usyk. Then he obviously lost in a rematch again in Saudi Arabia, which was a closer fight. And then it took a little bit of rebuilding because we didn't see him again until April 2023, where he first took on Jermaine Franklin, looked a shell of himself before taking on someone like a Robert Helenius, someone that he'd shared a countless amount of rounds in the ring with, and he knocked him out. And then he fought against Otto Wildling, again knocked him out, but was troubled a little bit from the jab, you know what I mean, from the pair in both of their fights. But again, came through that quite comprehensive. And each time he got in the ring, especially from the Jermaine Franklin one, because I'd say that one was the turning fight really, because he lost to Alexander Usyk. Everyone was chatting quite a lot about him, about AJ, and his confidence and his spirits were down, and he was kind of contemplating whether or not he still had love for the game and if he could still compete at the highest level. Yes, it wasn't the best victory against Franklin, but he got through that and he won. He got the W, which is the most important thing. And then he got 2 KOs, and you know, what I mean, he retired the fighter in terms of Wallin on his stool, so that gave him confidence, and that all that led into the Ngannou fight, and that Ngannou fight was the sharpest I think I've seen AJ for a while, and it kind of reminded me back of the early days of Anthony Joshua, like the early parts of his career when he fought against people like Michael Spratt and Kevin Johnson and Gary Cornish, people like these, where he was getting sensational knockouts, and he was hitting people, he was hitting hard, he was looking sharp, he was looking focused, he was looking motivated. So he's in at, you know what I mean, at that moment in time when he knocked out Ngannou, he was at the highest point of his career, and that AJ, when he steps in the ring with that confidence, is a dangerous AJ, and that's what we all need to keep in mind. Whereas this fight against Daniel Dubois is slightly different because Daniel Dubois is coming off, you know what I mean, some tremendous form in himself. Now, the lows in terms of Daniel Dubois' career came back in 2020, where he lost against Joe Joyce, and it was a devastating defeat at the time because he sustained a very bad eye injury, but it was for the British heavyweight, the Commonwealth heavyweight, the European, and a couple intercontinental interim title belts on at the time as well. So it was a very, very big fight for the pair, but obviously Joe Joyce came out on top. He stopped Daniel Dubois in 10 rounds, whereas a lot of people said that he gave up. But Daniel did very well to come back the following year, and obviously took on a Bogdan Dinu and then some other guy, Custamano. Nobody's really in the boxing game, and nobody's in the heavyweight landscape, but he took him on because he had to build his confidence again before taking on someone like a Trevor Bryant, who had that WBA strap. I'm sure it was a WBA he had. I need to double check, but he had a belt anyway, and he was pretty much holding it like hostage sort of thing. But yeah, he took on like a Trevor Bryant, and he knocked him out in 4 rounds, and that was again confidence from Daniel Dubois, because again after that devastating defeat to Joe Joyce, he had you know what I mean, thoughts in his head saying, "Oh, can he still do it at the highest level?" And he proved that. But then it went downhill again. Even though he got the win in his next fight, it went downhill against the Kevin Lerena, in the fact that he went down multiple times against Kevin Lerena in the first round, and he had question marks in his mind of, you know what I mean, is he gonna quit? Can he continue, sort of thing? But he did well to sustain that punishment and to come back and to win, to beat Kevin Lerena in 3 rounds. Whereas I think a few fights before that he probably would have quit again. But also, you could also look at it that he was a lucky boy because other referees would have stopped that fight because he went down 3 times, and Lerena should have been the victor. But anyhow, he won, and that's the most important thing. But then the jump in caliber of opponent from Lerena to Usyk was massive, because he took on Alexander Usyk in 2023, August to be precise, where, as I said, it was a massive jump, but this was for the IBF, IBO and WBO titles, where he landed a brilliant shot. A lot of people said it wasn't low. A lot of people said it was low um, on Usyk, but Usyk used his experience, his ring craft, his brain, and obviously stayed down. Referee gave him a bit of extra time, and then he came back late to punish Daniel Dubois for that and knocked him out in the ninth round. Where again people were question marking, did he quit against Usyk? And that's quite comprehensive because when you look at Usyk and Daniel Dubois and AJ went 2 fights, didn't get knocked out against Alexander Usyk. And yes, you could say styles makes fights, and yes, you could probably say, well, Daniel Dubois hurt Alexander Usyk, but at the same time, AJ hurt Usyk in his fight, but he just wasn't able to capitalize on it. But he never got stopped in the two fights that he had, AJ against Usyk, whereas Daniel did, and he was losing anyway on the scorecards quite high anyway. So that doesn't really matter. But anyway, he regrouped and came back in December that year, fought on a Riyadh card, and he beat Jarrell Miller. And that was a very, very, very good victory at the time. It was a 10 round TKO victory. Very brilliant win. The only negative, if I had to say anything regarding that win, is that Jarrell Miller hadn't really been in a fight up until that point, really, and that was his first fight back. But yeah, very good win. But Hrgovic was his next opponent, and again, sensational performance from Daniel to get the 8th round knockout and hurt Hrgovic on multiple occasions after taking quite a lot of punishment himself. So yeah, he's been through the wars, but he's now where he is. You know what I mean? He's the IBF champion. He's fighting against, I mean, the man that most people consider, you know what I mean, if not the best or the second best British heavyweight currently, and that's in AJ. But yeah, like, let's wait and see what happens, and stay tuned for my second review in regards to this fight. This is just a quick review in regards to how these two guys have got to where they are so far. But yeah, as always, please subscribe and comment, people. Bless.